Welcome to the monthly broadcast of the Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group. My name is Gerhard Roof. We are registered with the IRS and the state of Utah as an educational nonprofit corporation. We normally start with a word of prayer. Rayanne has agreed to say that today. Go ahead.
Our dear Father in heaven, we are so grateful to be gathered today for this monthly meeting of the Utah Valley Technology and Genealogy Group. We're grateful for the opportunity that we have to discuss today those classes that were presented at RootsTech 2026, and we're grateful for the opportunities that we have to discuss these classes and those things that were presented and learned this year. We're grateful for the opportunities that we have to learn more about genealogy and the technology, and we pray now that we might be able to learn much this hour, and that we might be able to learn new things and be able to spread the word about genealogy. We're grateful for the technology, and we're grateful for the minds that we've been blessed with, and we pray now that we might have a productive hour, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you.
Today is the 14th of March, 2026. Our next monthly broadcast will be on the 11th of April. You can receive notification of the monthly speakers and their topics from our news release blog and from our website at uvtagg.org. We welcome the supporting members of our group on this Zoom broadcast and anyone else watching using Facebook Live on our Facebook page or on the recordings afterwards on Facebook or the UV Tag YouTube channel. If you'd like to make comments or ask questions during this broadcast, please use the chat feature in Zoom or post them in comments on Facebook for this broadcast. When the presenters ask questions, those of you on Zoom may also unmute your mic and turn on your camera to interact directly. I have a quick reminder for those of you who have formally joined UVTAG or would like to support the group. Your membership dues for the year 2026 may be renewed online at uvtag.org or by mailing in the form provided in the monthly newsletter. The form now also contains a QR code to simplify the payment process. Following today's presentation, we initiate the voting of our annual election of officers for those members of the group attending on Zoom. As you noted previously, and here again, is the meme for our for today's broadcast. We look forward to learning what was experienced at RootsTech by Marilyn Thomsen, Rayanne Melick, and Shauna Longstaff. The format of this meeting is a panel discussion, and any of you watching are welcome to join in and share by text what you have also experienced. The time is yours, Marilyn.
Welcome. We are so excited to have you join us. This is really a treat to be able to sit down with my friends and talk about RootsTech. I have all of these friends that I just love hanging out with. So we have Rayanne. I have a picture I wanted to share, just a minute of to set this off. Let me go to share. Okay, it looks like host disabled me, so I need to be enabled to share. Gerhard, Maybe I won't share.
You're now enabled.
I now enabled. I get to try again. Okay. All right. So this picture, let me share this. This is a picture of Rayanne and I. So the very first person that I ran into when I got RootsTech was Rayanne.
Yep.
And so we are in the upper area, and I was late. I have to tell you what happened. I take RootsTech, or the front runner down, and on front runner, I ran into some ladies that work at the Family History Library. And so they says, well, you don't want to get off at Salt Lake Central. You want to get off on the next one. And I went North Temple, and they said, yeah, there's 3 buses there that'll take you up to the Family History Library. And I said, what? You mean I could ride the front runner in the morning and take a bus over to the library? And they said, come with us. And so I hopped on the bus, but then that meant I was going to be late for my class. And so I rode the bus over, and it stopped right by the library, and I got off and I went, okay, I have a new way to go to the Family History Library. So there I am learning before RootsTech even started. And so then the first person I ran into is Rayanne, and Rayanne says, oh no, we need to sit and talk. We don't need to go to class.
Which is unusual for me because I never miss a class.
She never misses a class. Rayanne, tell about how you block out RootsTech. This is, she's told me before, she says, this is my day. My husband, my kids, everybody knows it's blocked out on the calendar. And don't you dare interfere with my time at RootsTech.
Right. This is my Disneyland.
It's
Do
her
not
Disney.
touch this week. And they all know. And it's a good thing none of the kids have birthdays or grandkids have birthdays during this week, because it would be a problem. We would have to do some serious choosing. So
Choosing.
I go through the schedule meticulously, and I do my options 1, 2, 3. You can tell I'm really OCD when it comes to this. It's really sad. And it's like when I get there and there are people standing there with their friends saying, "Oh, what do you want to go to? What do you want to go to?" I'm thinking, "Get out of my way. I am in search mode. I know where I'm going. Scooch to the sky," which really I am a lot more kinder than that. But in my mind, I may be thinking that. Well, maybe not. I am polite. I am very gracious, but I am a woman on a mission when it comes to this, which is probably ridiculous.
But she skipped a class for me, and so
Yeah,
we sat and we caught up on
it was good to catch up.
and so I wanted to stress that that actually is one of the important parts of RootsTech. I have to admit, I am forever running into people who I have not seen forever. And so, Shauna, could you first of all tell us about your opinion about Rayanne's 1, 2, 3? And then, Shauna, could you also tell us about the relatives around us?
Let's see. So I was having a little hard time about her 1, 2, 3, about her priorities at RootsTech.
Yeah.
Yeah. Her first priority again is what?
So you had told me a story about you went into a class and you said, "This is not what I thought it
Oh
was
yeah,
going to
yeah,
be."
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, the class that wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So I stuck it out and was disappointed by the end. And I learned that if you're not finding it within the first 10 minutes, you get out of it and go to a second class that you have
Yeah.
listed. And then the third, if that doesn't work out, you can go to the third. So I could use that for this one Swedish class, so I knew I didn't need the beginning part, but I needed the end part. So
Yeah.
that would have been helpful for that you don't waste your time in with what you already know and come in the end with the new stuff, whatever.
Right.
So
And
yeah.
then relatives around us.
Okay, so since there's nothing going on, I went to the main meeting and they did the relatives around us thing, and I found a second cousin that I recognized from my research in Sweden, that she'd been a contributor to that. And so I was excited and we were able to meet up and she and I decided that I'd find a way where she could contribute to give her a project that she could work on in the Swedish research.
So we wish I had a bell to ring. Ding, 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 ding. One of the best things about RootsTech is to make assignments to relatives.
Exactly.
Yes. And I have been invited to relatives' house to see pioneer memorial items, family items that I never knew existed. Connecting with these relatives around us really is a fantastic thing to do. Rayanne brought up a really good point, is that she goes through the catalog before she goes. And can I add to that? I actually download all of the handouts for all of the classes that are possible. And so I block out like the Wednesday before or the Tuesday before RootsTech, and I sit down and I read through all of the handouts. And the reason is some of the classes that are live only don't have handouts. And then there are other classes that, as I'm reading through the handouts, what they're going to cover, it kind of gives me a clue, the direction they're going with the class. And so then I'll say, oh, this is not the direction I need to go. This is, like Shauna had mentioned, she says, I thought, oh, this is very beginning Swedish research. And she said, I didn't need to be in that class. And so that's one of the reasons I go through the handouts. I will say, at lunchtime, I met with some friends and I mentioned a class. I said they had a really good handout, and they shook their head and they said, no, there is so much more in the class than there was on the handout. You really need to go back and watch that class. If that was one of the classes that is still online. And so that was a really good heads up too, because a lot of the presenters do put their handouts on early, and some of them put their slides, and it's in resources. When you go on the computer, you look on the side and it'll say resources. If it's not there, then they don't have it. But sometimes watching the classes, you find out that the handout was just kind of an outline. And they expect you to fill in the outline when you're in the class. But sometimes that outline is just what I needed to be able to watch. Do you guys have anything to add to that?
I find too that if I'm trying to decide, especially if they put things up beforehand, if it's nice if I'm trying to decide between two classes at the same time, if one of them has got their video up early, I'm going to watch that and go to the other class. Just so that I can grab everything I can. Because I'm going to miss something. It's like I said, it's the OCD in me that's afraid I'm going to miss something.
So the FOMO, let's talk about FOMO, the fear of missing out.
I'm very much afraid that I'm going to miss something. It's pathetic. I know. It really is.
It is. So this is something that's really serious. You have to prepare yourself to deal with, is FOMO. That you're saying, wow, there's all of this and there's all of that, and I won't get to it all. A long time ago, there was a conference I went to, and the main session speaker, he said, it's like drinking from a fire hose. However, if there is one thing that you get from a conference that changes how you do things, and it changes, your effectiveness, it changes your organizations, it inspires you, then the conference has been a success. And I have to keep my little reply to my OCD-ness is, Marilyn, it's drinking from a fountain hose, and the Lord's going to give you what you need the most. That's the first thing. But then the second thing is, before I go to the conference, as I'm reading through all of these handouts, I'm evaluating, Marilyn, what is it which direction are you going? And so, for example, some years I had to focus on DNA because I was clueless about DNA. Other years I've had to to focus on Danish research. And so I was doing just Danish research. Other years it's been how to organize things and that. And so I take some years it's been photos that I've done on, and so I have to remind myself that while I can't do everything at the same time, I can focus on one thing at a time, and that becomes kind of my theme for the year too in my personal research. Am I organizing my family photos, or am I going to work on figuring out the DNA, I think kits that we have and that. And so that is what that does at the end. So let me explain. This year, because of one of those classes from BYU that I put into the newsletter article, it says how to get the most out of VTAG, and it says, okay, now you need to plan your takeaway and how you're going to use the skills you've learned. And so, but I had done that before RootsTech, and so what I did is I had a sheet of paper that's on my little legal pad, and it was labeled, what are you going to do with what you have learned? So while I'm listening to the class, I'm writing a note in here, oh, I need to use this for this research, or I need to look at this website for this person or this research or this thing. And because the Lord inspires us as we are listening to what is the most valuable thing as we're listening. And so I have to write those down, because otherwise it just flies away like a little butterfly, and I don't recapture it. So, yeah.
That is definitely true.
Yeah.
There are some presenters too that no matter what they're presenting, I'm going to go to them. I have my favorites, and I mean they can talk about whatever, and I am going to go to their classes.
It's true. What. And some aren't there every year, and
right.
you have to grab them. But yeah, there are some presenters that just blow me away. Yeah. So tell us, what are some of the presenters you go to, Rayanne, that you make sure you get in the class?
I never miss Krista Cowan from Ancestry.
Isn't she
so
a delight?
Fun, and she's so down to earth, and she says what she thinks, and she's just a lot of fun. And I don't miss anybody, just because of my Eastern European research. I don't miss anybody from MyHeritage, because they are the focus of, they're more international than everybody, and especially because they're over there and they have the most Eastern European records. So I never miss any of those. So those are the two. And of course, then, you never miss Steve Rockwood. And I have a personal connection to him because he was my mom's home teacher for forever. So, those are the three. But nobody misses Steve Rockwood anyway, because he's usually the beginning speaker.
Yeah, and that is something you can catch afterwards.
You can catch that afterwards, and usually you can't get a seat in that main one anyway. If you're late.
Yeah, but it is wonderful to be part of that full experience, the 360 I call it, of hearing people gasp and hearing people applaud and seeing everybody stand up and cheer and applaud and wanting to do the tap dancing or whatever it is.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
And this year, I'm also really excited because they had those little 15-minute videos from different people around the world, and I'm going to sneak a little family history in on my son, who, when I say family history, rolls his eyes, but Zico, the Brazilian soccer player. My son's a soccer player, and all four of his sons are soccer players. So they're going to get a little Zico here in about a week. So, hey, you do whatever you can.
It is fun. I know I laugh because when I'm in the big event, I'm always thinking, oh, I need to text so-and-so and tell them they've got to watch this one. Oh, I need to text so-and-so. And so we have a couple who are serving in Michigan and Ireland, and so I was texting her as the Garner brothers were doing their tap dancing, world-renowned tap dancer, and I said, oh, RootsTech, we're doing Ireland right now. And she texted me back. It probably was 3 in the morning there, but anyway, she texted me back. Marilyn, I'll make sure I watch it. Shauna, do you have some people who you don't miss, or you would say, I will go back to them for sure?
Of course, this is the first time I was there. So whoever taught the first Swedish class, I'd go back to that for sure.
Oh, you got a name. Okay.
Okay, so
Yeah.
I have the handout, so their names on there. So yeah, that was excellent as far as the Swedish research goes. And I would go to the archive digital display on the floor to talk about Swedish research because they've got real good Swedish researchers there. You can bring them your questions, they'll answer them. So, and you can
That's,
pull up things and they'll look at it with you.
yeah. 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 Um, and even computer programs that you may use if you have a glitch or something. I know for me, I went into my heritage. They have a newspaper collection that I use a lot, and it's discounted during RootsTech. And so I go into the expo, and I couldn't get it to. They have this year. They had a handout, and they say, "Okay, just go in here and add it on." And I said, "I can't add it on because I already have an account." And she says, "Oh yeah, we have to do that." And so I have certain expo people I go to visit. One is Genealogy Bank gives a discount. My Heritage, they have a newspaper collection I use. Ancestry.com, they have a newspaper collection that is an add-on. And if you have a LDS subscription, you have to pay extra money to be able to get their little bundle for Fold 3 and the newspaper collection. And so I go in and I make sure I hit those. My husband is a big, he likes Ancestral Quest. And I was going to, let me show you. This is Ancestral Quest. You go into their booth and you find out what they're doing. And so I talked to Galen, and he mentioned how they are updating his thing, and it'll be $5 for those who already have a copy of the program. But these are some of the things that they're going to add to it. And so my husband was really excited that I was able to bring that information home for him. So
It's nice during RootsTech. That's where if I have to renew anything,
yeah,
that is when I do it. I have most of my subscription things renew right about RootsTech, and I've also noticed if you are pretty close, if you didn't quite schedule, if your subscriptions, because RootsTech changes a little bit in dates every year, but I have found most of them are really good about giving you, 3 weeks to a month either way to renew. And sometimes they'll even give you, because a lot of times when you're renewing, they won't give you the cheaper price, but sometimes they will. And if they don't, that's fine too. But sometimes they can look and see how long you've had your subscription, and sometimes they'll give you a longevity discount, which
yeah,
I don't care if I have to pay the regular price. That's not a big deal. But sometimes they give you a thanks for subscribing discount, or
yeah,
thanks for being a long-term subscriber.
yeah,
And I always go knowing I'm going to buy something. I'm going to try something new, or I'm going to I have a small business that I do, and that money is my straight genealogy play money. That's all it's for, and it's so I can do what I want with it. I can, if I need to order films or if I need to do whatever, and so that's also RootsTech money. So
oh, thank you, Rayanne. That's really true. I put up a slide. This slide is people purchasing T-shirts, and it's, look at all of these happy faces of people spending money.
that lady in the blue hat, I
Yeah.
followed her around for a little bit. just because she was so fun to watch,
Yeah,
and she was pretty good at buying stuff,
yeah, yeah,
and
yeah. That
vendors loved her, I'm sure. And she was probably from out of town. I don't know. She was just fun to watch. She was seemed to be a very happy person, and I was. It was just fun to see her.
So that brings up a topic I love to talk about is the people at RootsTech. I love meeting them. And so we were looking over the t-shirts and they had a cute one I was looking at and a guy was ready to buy it. And I said, of all of them I've seen, I think this is one of the best. And he says, "Oh, I'm an engineer and I've read that midlife where I have a company and I'm bored." And I was thinking maybe I should go back and do genealogy as a profession. And I said, "Oh, I had a lot of engineers graduate with me from BYU." He says, "You did?" And I says, "Yeah, you have an analytical skill." And so he was then telling me, I believe that, I believe that. So anyway, you get these personal stories or adventures of people around you, and it's just a joy to be with. So this is the T-shirts that they sell, and they had some good ones this year. Oh, we've seen that. I was going to tell you, this gal in the background, I know her.
Oh,
After the picture was over, I went, "Oh yeah, I didn't say hi to her. I know her." So here are some pictures of
Disneyland. That is
Disneyland.
Disneyland right there.
Renee's Disneyland. Here we are. So here's the ancestry. They have these screens up where they do their own presentations. And so, for example, if you have subscribed to the DNA and that they have special classes to help you to work through or to learn how to use the website, and they have a schedule that's up over there that helps you to do that. This was, I have to tell you, one of the reasons I was able to talk my granddaughter into coming up. I sent her this picture, and she says, "Oh, that looks like fun." And so I had sent her also. So this is tons of balls, and on the Saturday when the family day, this was totally full of kids. On the other days, you would see adults rolling around in here. It was just hilarious.
It
And then,
said proceed at your own risk.
yes, yes. And then these are the benches. It's kind of fun because I've heard a lot of people talk about how their husband just goes to the expo. He doesn't pay for the classes, or vice versa. The husband goes to the classes and the wife just hangs out in the expo. And they find that such fun. This was the family day activities, and it was really clever. They had different games and activities and crafts from all over the world. My granddaughter came, she wanted to do the beading class, but we played a Japanese game, we did some origami. They just are clever games. I took pictures of quite a few of them because I thought, oh, this would be a fun activity for a primary. They had people explaining how to play mahjong and some other Japanese, or well, just other games from around the world. And this also, you run into people. So this is Joy Stubbs, who is a member of UV Tag. And this was a picture, it's pretty much the first day, and they had markers there for anyone to put their name or to color in. I ended up coloring up here. By the end of the day, this was totally colored, and it was just fun to see what people felt, being able to contribute to it. So the expo hall. Okay, we'll leave that there. All right. How about you, Shauna?
The expo hall.
Yeah.
Let's see. I have a picture of my friend there too, but
Yes, yes.
but we've used the beading section just to have a chat at the end of a Friday at RootsTech
Really?
to talk with my cousin and her friend before they were leaving to go back to Logan, and I was leaving to go home. I wasn't able to make it up Saturday because I had to do things with my husband. But yeah, if you want me to show the pictures, then you can disable my share. But otherwise,
Um,
it's just as
yeah. Gerhard, would you like to? I can stop sharing. Okay. And and I guess I can actually share tools.
so. People they were just coming up to go to the expo hall, and their comment was that before COVID, it was just packed with all kinds of companies. And then after COVID, nobody was there. It was very light. So how did it compare this year?
Oh, that's a good question. So the number of participants in the expo or participants from in general? Is that the question? Or
Yeah, I'm trying to
yeah.
find where did my picture go?
Wow, that's so we've been going for 15 years. Is it 15 or 16 years, Rayanne?
Something like that. 16.
Yeah. So I was there the first year, and each year it just gets better and better, and the organizations get better and better. Okay. All right, Shauna, we can see your screen.
Okay, no,
Yeah.
that was not what I wanted though.
Okay. So go back and select another window is what you need to do.
Okay,
Okay. So go back to the share on. You need to go back into Zoom, or you can move those around. Yeah, you can move in onto that window. The picture.
I'm gonna stop share first and see if I can get.
Go back.
Okay,
So while you're doing that, I'm going to chat about the number of
okay,
participants. So, as what happened is it's kept getting busier and busier and busier and really exploding. And they have those helpers that they bring in, and they used to have like green shirts that says questions or help or that. And this year, you can see they were wearing football jerseys, and they were just so cute. It was fun to see them because they're a little more discreet than the bright lime green. And I think they will probably wear them through the years. Oh, look at that. See? That is a
picture.
I love it. That is
so yeah, so the person next to me, we walked almost every week together, and I was the leader, the Family Search Center leader, and then I passed it on to her. And the next person, she was from our stake, and she was over the whole stake for a while. But it was fun meeting all these friends from my old home here.
wow.
And
So they're from California?
yeah, they're from California. And
Wow.
Charlene's the second person here, my friend there that I walked with, her husband's in charge of Just Serve, and so they were coming up because for her she had a niece that was getting married, and he decided to volunteer at Just Serve.
Wow.
So
That
it
is
was
fun story. Oh, that is really fun.
and she wanted, let's get together and family search on the same.
Oh, that is neat. At the expo, the booths will give you, I guess I could hold up my tag. So they have badges that you could get. So you could get.
You're smart. I didn't grab mine.
Yeah, so this one you can see you can get them from MyHeritage or Ancestry. This is MyHeritage got their newspaper, old newspapers. But every single year I have picked up the BYU one at the bottom. And then I always do the DAR because those are two organizations I am really proud of to wear. And the reason I do that is because they're conversation starters. And so I always make sure when I'm, like, for example, sitting down in a class, I check out other people's thing, or people will ask me about those little ribbons on their tags, and they'll say, "Oh, you are a DAR too," or else they'll say, "Oh, you're a BYU family history graduate too." And so then we have these friends that are just waiting all around you to be able to talk and to visit and participate with what you're doing. So
Did you see the lady that had one of those? She must have had one from every single person there.
anyone that
And
had
it
a
was
ribbon,
really dragging the ground, and I
I
thought,
know it was.
oh
I
my
kept thinking
goodness.
she's gonna trip on that.
I know. I thought the same
I
thing.
know. I know mine could be very long, but is what I do is I stick them on the back. So it was before I got over to this booth and I had the others. But yeah, it's true. It's kind of fun. And then I actually behind me I have a spot on that bookcase where I hang them, and so I have my medals from running marathons that I have in a place, and then this is my, like you said, my Disneyland. So I keep my name
I have one of
tags,
those too.
and I hang them up there. That's my little collection behind me. That is my
Mine's in my closet hiding because my husband's a minimalist, and so
ah.
it's like we have everything. I I've kind of gotten that way too. So I have them, but they're a little bit more hidden.
I know when people talk to me about it, I always say, yeah, one more thing for my kids to have to throw away.
You know what? I told my kids that as we go through things now, I have a lot of things that I have labeled that say, things that I have looked at for years but can't quite get rid of. I
Yeah,
have a note in it say, when we're gone, you can toss, but I can't get rid of them now. So at least I can let them know that
yeah,
don't feel guilty.
yeah, yeah. That's important. That really is important. Yeah. I am talking to people before the classes. I have to say, or even on the front runner, I have gained some tips from the other people that have been as valuable, or sometimes even more valuable, than the ones that I've got from the teachers. So, for example, today I told you the tip about the bus riding from on front runner from the North Temple station. And so I'm just curious, are there any tips that you guys picked up?
Well, I found out that for me,
Oh, so
because of my
Shauna,
schedule going,
you tip your camera? Yeah,
okay.
there.
There you are.
So for me, because I had my uncle's funeral to work with at the same time,
Yeah.
um, I discovered that the blue line runs every 15 minutes. And so going the extra mileage to Draper, I think would be actually easier for me than taking front runner.
Yeah.
Because if you miss that,
Yeah.
if they don't always show up right on time, but if it's an hour between and you just miss it, you know,
Yeah.
and then you have to drive back there, and if you come back at a time when it's every hour, it wastes a lot of time. So I like the fact that sort of the
So
transportation.
where you picked up the blue line over in Draper, or?
I can't. I didn't this time because I was Thursday. I went to the viewing afterwards, and Friday I came in from the funeral.
Okay.
So I just parked at North Murray, and because he
Yeah.
was in West Valley City, so that was the close, just a few minutes from there. But I was discovering, oh, Draper. Draper's easy to get to, and it's
Yeah.
only 15 minutes apart, not a half hour or an hour.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's right next to the Draper Library. I was going to say also, your pass gives you a free ride
Right.
on
But you have
both.
to get your pass first.
Well, yeah, and that's a question I asked the guys. I said, so when I'm going there to get my pass, and they said, "Yeah, we know, it's okay." And so both front runner and the
Tracks.
tracks, yeah, are free all during RootsTech. So really fun. That
But it's
I
only $1.25 for one way.
yeah, yeah. So one thing I learned too is I'm watching the classes. I noticed at the beginning there are people were always bringing their Rolodex or their suitcases full of all of their files, and they're running around with their little suitcases, and so the difference between then and the reason. One, I'll have to tell you, my sister works conferences. She's retired now, but she said she was at the Salt Palace, and she said they had a military conference, and she said the genealogists, and she says you can spot the genealogists from a mile away because they're pulling all of their files with them. But now people don't. In fact, even the backpack that I was carrying, people are just more having little things, and is what they're starting to do is they're using their phones, and so you download the class notes, and you're taking the notes. Some people use OneNote or different things in that. I just use Notes that's on my iPhone. And in Notes, then as you go down, there's a thing that says take a picture. And so then I just take a picture of the slide that I want. And so I bring up both the note or the handouts, and then I'm reading through the handouts. And then when I'll say, oh, this is something new, or the teacher says, oh, go to this website, then I take a picture of that here and add it to my note. And then when I go back, I have labeled my notes, RootsTech, 2023, RootsTech 2024, RootsTech 2025, and then inside of there, then I have my classes. And then I can go ahead and bring those notes into my folders on my computer and use them there. So I have the folder of 2026 with all of the notes that I've downloaded. So, and I kind of got that as I look around at those people who are next to me. I mentioned that to one of the people, and he says, yeah, he said, I see people bringing their laptops here, and I shake my head and say, you got to get with this digital thing. You got to figure this out. And each year I see fewer and fewer laptops. I see more people just with one pad to write something down, maybe there, but most of them are just using their phones for notes. So,
I've got another tip. This has nothing to do with notes or whatever, but if you can pick up your badge the night before,
okay.
get rid of that crush. And I have found my husband works in Salt Lake 3 days a week, so Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. So he can usually pick it up for me, and I usually send my driver's license with him, but they haven't asked for it, but
yeah.
I have sent it just in case they want proof of him knowing at least who I am.
Oh.
That way, because I've noticed now usually it does go fast.
Yeah.
Depending when you're at the Salt Palace, but depending on where you come in.
Yeah.
Because sometimes, because they do have several places you can pick up your pass, but sometimes they're slower than molasses. I don't know what the deal is. I know they're getting faster. They get faster every year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But,
so the place to pick up the pass is their.
They had it in the middle this year. I don't know. In years past, they've had more than just the middle place. They've had it off on the side and a couple places off on the side.
They do. They have one on the upper level. They have one on the bottom level. So when you head, I call it the South Palace, but the conference center, if you enter the doors that have those signs in front of it that are in and out, up and down, and they have the windmills, if you enter in that door, and I learned this because I had friends who told me about the buses to the library. And so also, when you get to the Family History Library there, they actually have little golf carts that run between the library and the
Oh
conference
yeah, I
center.
did see the golf carts.
And so the
Yes.
golf carts dropped me off there, and that's the first time I picked up my pass there. So that was just really fun. Yeah.
When I was there, walking was just as fast as golf course.
Yes, sometimes it really is. It is. When I arrived, it was snowing, and so it was nice to hop into the golf cart and not to be a little bit drier.
And I did go out and look across the street to, they're pulling the Plaza Hotel down, and that's where we have had our Eastern European conference. So I did my little bit of mourning there, and then I came back into the Salt Palace and went back to class. But it's hard to see
Yeah.
those things come down.
Right.
Things are changing all around.
Well, we have about 5 more minutes, and so I'm
Can I
just here.
mention another class that I thought was just absolutely fabulous?
That's what I was going to say. Do you have a
Wallace
class?
Goddard.
What is it?
Wallace Goddard.
Okay.
He's a retired professor of family and human development, and he did a class on creating powerful stories that connect our children with their ancestors. And that was probably one of my favorites this year. He's really personable, but he talked about creating a one-person family history page, and his handout, his syllabus was fabulous. But I love the idea because my kids, I'm lucky if they read one page of anything.
Yeah.
But he put these pictures together, and it was just very creative, showed different things. One of the things he showed was, you can tell that family history is his thing, but he showed things that they have displayed um, in his house, and like he had one of his like his mom's his grandmother's wedding dress, and he had it actually on a dress form.
Oh,
And I mean, so he had these creative ways of displaying it. And I was trying to think of the one thing that we have in our house, and we have a hair picture. And my husband talked about this hair picture forever. And I thought, hair picture. And to me, I'm thinking hair picture, a braid stuck in a frame. Well, this thing is a gorgeous horseshoe, and it's woven. It's got teeny tiny little flowers in it. It was in his grandparents' summer kitchen forever. And so when we finally got a hold of it, the rats had gotten to a little of it, but we got it restored and everything. And he's forever saying, if the house catches fire, just grab the hair picture and run. And I thought, oh, good grief, this is ridiculous, blah, 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 blah. But anyway, it's really funny because I can't remember how many years ago, we did have a fire that came around the mountain, and we were actually watching it in Pleasant Grove where we were. As we watched the fire come around the mountain, we were actually on alert for evacuation. And all I could think of and my husband saying, okay, we've got our little whatever. He says, we can let everything burn, but grab that stinking hair picture. And it was so funny because all I can think of is that hair picture. But we were talking about that yesterday in prayer meeting at BYU, and our DNA expert said, if there's a root on one of those pictures in one of those strands of hair, we could figure out the DNA on that. I told my husband, and they said, we're not ripping that thing apart. I said, don't you want to know? And he says, maybe when I'm dead, you can rip it apart. I'm thinking, well, you're in better shape than I am. That's not gonna happen. But anyway, it was just interesting because I had no idea that.
Did you have another class that you loved that you
That was the class. That
was another
Wallace Goddard.
of a,
That, and then there was since there were a lot of them that I would have loved to have gone to, but I look at the syllabus and it was like, okay, there's some analyzing and researching family photographs with AI. The guy had a syllabus that was really, really long, so I didn't go to that. And Secrets of the Research Wiki was a really good class.
Yeah.
But there again, that was when I left because they also had a really good handout.
Yeah.
And I had a friend of mine stuck her head in the door, and I happened to be in the back because I couldn't get on the front row. And she found me and she said, "We gotta catch up." And I was like,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
so I have a hard time choosing between classes.
So I have found that some of the handouts, if I go through, and even if RootsTech doesn't have the class, it could be because the class is part of the legacy
Yes.
videos, and so a lot of those teachers have classes there available, and then also BYU library, you have your collection, and so. Some of those teachers are not part of the RootsTech collection, but they are part of the YouTube video collection. So
Right.
if you didn't make a class, it's still possible, and I do set aside time to keep updating my skills. Now, Shauna, how about you? Is there a class you or a teacher?
Let's see, the one AI class I went to the very end was of the first day was good. Let me see if I can.
Oh, the AI classes were excellent. Oh,
That was the theme this year. I felt like
yeah.
AI was
Yeah.
everywhere.
And learning how to incorporate it into so many sites. And one person, she just gave she didn't says I don't have a handout because it's easier just to go through and show you what I do. And so I was learning what GPT uses, and
Yeah.
I learned about Claude, and that it's a really good editor, and
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and Goldie May. If you're concerned about privacy, about AI stuff,
Yeah.
because everything you give AI, they can apparently there's some security issues. Um, Goldie May keeps if you pay their subscription, their AI that they create is secure.
And keeps things private that are
That's
Hmm.
private.
right. That was one of my favorite speakers. I like Richard Miller.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he is good.
But, yeah. Goldie May, boy, that is a new,
Uh,
they've reinvented and added, and boy,
yeah, you don't have to write anything down anymore. You just
yeah. Well, I
scan
don't
this
know.
document.
Yeah, but it does. Yeah. And so did you think Goldie May is worth that subscription? So it's free in family history centers to get the professional level, but this is a new
Well,
level.
not even the whole level of it. Yeah, there's certain levels you can get in the Family Search Center, but not the whole thing.
Yeah. So, could we have, I'm just curious, if you could on Facebook, or those of you who are on YouTube, if you could post any questions that you have. Um, I can't see the Facebook, but I'm hoping Gerhard, if anyone has any questions on Facebook, if they could post those. We would love to hear your favorite class. Also, we would love to know if you have a tip for RootsTech, or if you have a question for us panel experts.
I
We hope.
haven't seen any questions or comments yet on either
Okay.
Facebook or Zoom.
Do you have a number of people that are attending, or out of this? Um,
It's varied up and down, but it's
okay.
been small so far. We're down
Okay.
less than 10 on Facebook, and 5 here on Zoom.
This,
By the way, I looked up. You asked the question about attendance.
yeah.
I checked the attendance over the years on RootsTech. You know, before COVID, they only did it in person, and in person began early on with just a few thousand. But by 2020, just before COVID hit, we were at 30,000 on
30.
attendees in person at RootsTech. With the following year going virtual only, uh, they were at 1 million attendees, and that has gone up each year.
Really?
Where last year the total between uh, physical in-person attendees and online was over 4.7 million, with people attending from 230 countries.
Wow.
Uh, that was 2 years ago. Uh, the in-person has increased, but it hasn't reached the free online.
30. Yeah.
Uh, we're last year we were at over 15,000. I didn't find a figure for this year, but that's understandable. If you
Yeah.
can do it for free,
Yeah.
why go there and pay? They've made that so convenient.
However,
Anyway,
yes, but as Rayanne and I will tell you, the reason you go there and pay is because there's in-person classes
yep,
only that are not
yep,
videoed. And so
that's
actually,
correct.
and I am really grateful we don't have 30,000 people there anymore because you can find a seat usually.
That's
There's
true.
no, there was
I
only
do
one,
have a
yeah, there was
Go
only one
ahead.
class I wasn't able to get in at first, but then I was able to get in as other people left. And so, yeah. Okay, go ahead,
I
Rand.
I really you mentioned early on during the presentation your participation with some classes online. That's the way I was able to attend this year, and I really enjoyed both the main room presentations and the topics that I was interested in, which specifically included DNA and a couple of others. Uh, like I was looking for presenters for the group and
Yeah,
found some good topics.
good, good. Did you do any German classes?
And not yet.
Not yet.
There's
Okay,
time.
okay.
There's time. I'm curious about your comments about online.
Yeah.
Shauna posted a comment
Have
too.
you either of you done any online stuff too?
Shauna, did you used to attend Roots Tech?
I I would attend. I signed up to attend RootsTech almost every year, and sometimes I got in a class or two because it just happened the same time other things were going on. That I was had obligations, so that was hard. Um, I did learn, and one more thing from my Swedish class, and that's about VPNs. Do you know what those are? They are websites that you can join that will allow you access as if you were in another country. Be,
Oh,
because right now, Rick Sarvik, which is the Sweden's state repository, they are changing things, and because of security reasons, somehow America will not take them up on their websites, kind of thing.
okay.
So you have to use Sweden's internet,
Ah,
and so if you purchase a VPN, you can actually access the things that are only on the internet in like
that
the
country.
archives, the state archives. You can access that through a VPN.
Wow. Will that help me watch my British mystery then?
It possibly
It
will.
does, yes.
Oh,
So yeah, that goes beyond just uses for genealogy, but that's how you can access sites. Because family search isn't available in all countries either, and so you'd have to use a VPN, I guess, to be able to do
yeah,
that.
access it. Yeah, that's so
I,
true.
I I remember when Sweden decided to only make their records available
Yeah.
online themselves. So that VPN or virtual private network feature that's available for a monthly fee from a number of companies would allow you to be able to do that. Yeah.
So when I went in to use the online version, scheduling, I was playing around with all of the sortings, and that. And if you take away the language, I was absolutely shocked at how many languages RootsTech is in. And so if you are searching a foreign language, I don't put all English because there are so many classes and for so many other countries in their language for them that we are don't know. Yeah.
Okay, was that the upstairs? You go out on the second floor, they had all these people sitting at desks, and it seemed like, and at least for some of them, they were actually just translating.
Oh, yeah. So one of the neat things that occurs at RootsTech, and this is WeMat. I'm trying to remember his first name. He goes around to the archives in countries with temples that they don't give access to the public to their archives, and they actually fly them in. And so when you go into these general meetings, they have a VPI area that they have flown people in from around the world to watch the big show. And part of their goal is to educate them about how common people want access to the records and they want access to the archives. And he said that RootsTech is a huge game changer for those countries where they bring these VPIs in. VIPs.
Hmm.
Yeah, and that's you'll see people from all over the world being escorted around. I talked to a cute guy that was from Wales, and he works in creating maps of cemeteries and digitizing and creating collections for that. And he was blown away. He says, I keep calling my wife and telling her, this is so amazing. I want to bring you here to Renee's Disneyland, right? Yeah. Well, I think we're over
Well,
time.
thank you. Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
Hey, I've really enjoyed your sharing your experiences. I appreciate that. Uh, the next time, Rayanne, we'll have to work on your sound a little bit. The only comment I got online was how quiet your microphone was.
Yeah.
We'll work on that next time. Okay. By the way, for Marilyn and Rayanne, you've done this a couple of times after Roots Tech in recent years. We appreciate that. And for those of you that are members of the group, you will enjoy, if you haven't read it already, Marilyn's comment on Roots Tech, an article in the current issue. For those of you that are not members of the group, you may request a free copy of the newsletter to get some idea of what we have available at UVTAGG. And we look forward to seeing you on the 11th of February. Thank you for your participation.